Welcome back, everybody, to the Long Take. This is Ken Guidry, and Justin Moore is my co-host. We just wrapped up talking about Gone Girl, and if you remember, the first section of this episode, we were talking about our favorite movies when we were 5 and 10 years old. Now we're going to wrap up that list with 15, 20, and 25. I'm going to go first. Age 15, 2002. Motorcycle just drove by. DVDs. I think I bought a DVD player when I was like 14 or I got one for like my birthday. I didn't, because we had a DVD player in the living room, but I didn't have my own DVD player until they kind of made like the separate ones, like the little ones. So I got that. I want to say 2001, 2002. For me, this came out years before, but this is right when I started to really. Like I said, animation was a big thing for me at age 5. Comedy was a big thing for me at age 10. Age 15 going into 16, that's when I started getting into dramas. Now, it was really basic. It was a really basic starting point. The first movie that kind of opened my eyes, one of the first movies I bought on DVD, actually, was Fargo. The Coen Brothers.
Yeah, great movie.
And the Coen Brothers, was like, they quickly became my heroes because I could not get enough of their movies. I watched Fargo, and Fargo, it's a 98-minute movie, and yet there's so much to it.
My God, it seems so much longer than that, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's so dense with these great characters and this great dialogue. It has comedy, it has drama, it has violence, it has everything. Everything. And for me, it was just all-encompassing. It was just this all-encompassing experience to watch unfold right in front of me. And I remember I watched it, my TV was right next to my bed, so I was like right watching it, like right in front of me. And when it was over, I just stared at it. I was like, wow. Again, that was the first time I really started paying attention to directors. And shortly after that, the Coen Brothers were my people. And I just could not get enough of them. That was a huge movie for me.
So that's your 15. That's your favorite movie at 15, Fargo.
That was my favorite movie at age 15.
All right, great choice. Go
ahead.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of along the same lines. A movie that came out years before, and as you were getting into it, I was really curious if we were going to have the same movie. I don't know if this one was on your radar. I mean, I'm sure it was on your radar, but I wasn't sure if this one was like close to being one of your favorites. But yeah, this is a movie that the family had, our video collection, and I remember when I would go down to watch a movie down to the living room, I would look through the tapes, and I'd always seen this movie. The cover always stuck out to me, but for some reason, I really never had any desire to watch it until I guess I had a conversation with my mom, and she was saying how you should really watch the movie. It's a great movie. So my mom also pretty pivotal in getting me interested in movies and talking about movies. Not just something to sit and watch and zonk out for an hour or two, but really something art. So the movie is Pulp Fiction. And I didn't see that until I was younger than 15, but I'm pretty sure that at 15 that was, if you were to ask me what my favorite movie was, I would say without a doubt Pulp Fiction. But I remember I think I was sick one day. I was homesick and I wanted something to do, so I just popped that movie in. I was sitting on my couch and I was just completely floored by what I saw, how fun the movie was, how dark it was at times, how it made you crack up and also just made you hold your breath. The adrenaline shot to the chest. And again, like reading about all the kind of hysteria behind it at Cannes in what was it, 94 when it came out, 96? Okay.
94.
Yeah, all the all the press that it got, Tarantino, the attention that he got. Rightly deserved. I couldn't get enough of this movie. I was pretty obsessed. And then it's funny because as much as I love that movie, I didn't really see anything else from Tarantino until Kill Bill. And it's then that I went back and watched Reservoir Dogs and Jackie Brown and everything that followed up. I'm a big Tarantino fan to this day, but Pulp Fiction was definitely the springboard into everything that followed.
Yes. I'm glad you brought up Kill Bill because, yeah, for me, I was aware of Tarantino when I was 14,
Mm.
15. I probably saw Pulp Fiction. I knew Pulp Fiction was a great movie. I'm pretty sure I watched it at that
Yeah.
point, and I liked it. But when Kill Bill came out, that's when I really got into
Okay.
Tarantino. Okay, because the Coen Brothers kind of introduced me to there's directors, and I love films. I want to get into directors' films, their filmography, and all that stuff. That's when I got into Quentin Tarantino and Paul Thomas Anderson and all these other guys who are currently making great films at the time, and directors like Scorsese and Spielberg. Like 2002, I would say Taxi Driver was another big one for me. 2002, that was like the first Scorsese film I really. Taxi Driver and Goodfellas,
Mm.
really. Both films I watched around 2002 2003 that I was crazy about. And close to 2003, close to when I was becoming a junior in high school and turning 16, that's when I really got into Wes Anderson
Yeah.
films. And just like again, I'm just really getting into directors and that's when I really started to really begin my love for movies. And I said another big pivotal. There's two more that I would say is Being John
Mm.
Malkovich, which just blew my mind in so many ways. And another one, I say this because I watched it so many times, and it's this movie called High Fidelity,
Oh yeah, John
which came out in
Cusack, right?
2000. John Cusack, Jack Black, and Todd Luiso. Was
About
in
the
that?
record store.
Yeah, the record
Mm.
store. And I loved the movie so much. It actually was like the last movie I bought on
Mm.
VHS. It was right before I got a DVD player, and I watched the movie over and over again. I loved. I was big into music at the
Mm.
time, and I just loved like the aura of it. I loved the comedy of it. I loved that it was about past girlfriends. I was obsessed with girls, not boobies anymore. Really. Obviously,
Now girls, yeah.
obviously, I still love boobies, but I was obsessed with like getting a girlfriend, and oh my
Doesn't
god, does she
doesn't
like
Cusack do a
me?
lot of like fourth wall breaks and talking to you, the viewer?
Yeah, I mean, I loved that film, and I watched it. I used to have like it was almost like a ritual for me. I watched it the day before sophomore year,
Mm.
the first day of school, sophomore year of high
Mm.
school, day before junior year high school, senior year. I used to just watch it. It was like okay, school starts tomorrow. Let me put on my favorite movie, which is High
Oh, that's
Fidelity,
cool.
and I'm gonna watch
Yeah.
it. And yeah, and I did that up to like halfway through like
Really?
college. Like because it became a thing. Like, I still have my TV with the VHS part attached to
Yeah.
it. So that was like the only VHS I brought to college
Yeah.
with me. And I would just watch it whenever I felt like watching it. I'd watch it, and it was just like that was
It's like your
just it
kind
for
of like
me.
comfort
I loved
food.
it.
That's your comfort movie.
That was my comfort movie at
Yeah.
the time for sure. Yeah.
Other close
Let's
picks
go-
for me at 15. God, what year was that? 2002. Okay. Well, The Matrix came out in '99, and that was a movie that kind of just obsessed me. I was obsessed by it. A little bit of a mind bender. The special effects. Just a really really cool story. And another one that got just completely changed my shift. Really kind of put me in a different direction. And it's before 2002, but it didn't fit in '97 because I saw it in '98. But I remember going to the movies to see in '98 Saving Private Ryan. I saw that with my mom. But that's
Okay.
not my pick
Yeah.
though. As great a movie as that is, or as much as I enjoyed that movie,
It's not his pick.
it's not the pick. Don't get it twisted. But yeah, I went home and I was just really interested in other movies about war. And I was looking through again the family tape collection, and I saw this movie by a director named Stanley Kubrick, who I've never seen any of his movies before. So I picked it up, and it's got a helmet on the front, and it says "War is Hell," and it's also got the peace symbol. And the movie is Full Metal Jacket.
Right.
And I thought that I was going to get something along the same lines as what I saw in
Yeah.
Saving Private Ryan, but boy was I wrong. I watched that movie alone in 1998. I was 11 years old. I watched that unsupervised, just completely captivated me, and I was thinking about things differently after I saw that one. That's for sure. Very close to being my top, but it couldn't beat out Pulp Fiction for me.
Yeah, I gotta say Kubrick was someone I really got into in the years between 15 and 20. I pretty much burned through his filmography, most of it, by the time I got into college. And yeah, he was huge for me.
Yeah, it's funny because when after seeing that about Vietnam, I thought that A Clockwork Orange would be about Agent Orange or something like that. So I had a bit of a skewed view on what to expect from Kubrick, which is good because I'm pretty sure you can't expect, or with him you have to expect the unexpected. But yeah, he very quickly became one of my favorite filmmakers.
Mm-hmm. Let's go to 20.
Yeah, let's move on to 20
now. You want to start?
Yeah, sure. I'll start it up. When I was 20 years old, the year was 2007, and I remember going to the store, and I was shopping for, I don't know, whatever, but I went to the DVD section, and I saw that, sometimes like Walmart and Target, they'll have DVDs for $5, and they had, this movie and its sequel for like $5 each, and they're movies that I'd never seen before, and movies that I was down on myself for not seeing because they're classics. They're regarded as some of the greatest movies of all time. Always rank highly in the AFI lists or whatever. So I was like, I've got to finally see this. It's about time. I'm 20 years old, goddammit. I've got to watch this movie. And I sat down by myself again, just late at night one night. I put it in the DVD player, and it completely blew me away. And everything that I expected and more. It's The Godfather by Francis Ford Coppola.
Okay.
Just remember when I watched it, it was, I'd gone to work that day. I was tired. I just popped down in front of the TV and just put it on. And I didn't say a word while it was on, and probably not for, a couple minutes after the credits started to roll. And, from the music to the subtlety and the greatness in the acting and just the world that Coppola creates in that movie. I just remember, after watching that, just thinking, I'm an adult and I need to start, I just need to start acting differently. I don't know. It just kind of did something to me. I'm a man now because I've seen this movie or something, even though, that's kind of crazy. But yeah, it made me want to, I don't know, be a little more mature, I guess. I don't know. But it definitely, it definitely changed me watching that movie. I saw things differently after that, I guess, which is kind of silly to say, but, it's true. The movie had a profound effect on me.
Awesome. That's a pretty great pick. I would say when I got into Godfather Part 2, it was probably after college. I finally really watched them both back to back, and that's when I was really whoa. And I watched them both twice since, and it's still, the cinematic experience alone of watching Godfather Part 2 is just it's overwhelming, and it's a great pick. For me, 2007, age 20. I turned 20 that September. I was going to Penn State. I wanted to make movies at that point. I wanted to make movies. So, but let me talk first of all. Let me talk about my favorite overall cinematic experience happened in the year 2007. I was still 19, but I'll still mention it. Which was Grindhouse, Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez, double feature, Planet Terror, Death Proof. The trailers, the Grindhouse, watching it, the whole thing with the trailers and everything in it, that blew my ass off my backside. And I spent hours looking for my ass the rest of the day. I just couldn't find it. It was like that for me. It was huge for me. That was not huge, it was just huge just to have that experience as a 19-year-old. Just, it was the perfect thing for me. And it really just revitalized. I was like, yes, I love movies. I can't believe I can sit down in the theater and watch a movie like this, or watch two movies like this. It was a magical thing. Which is funny because Grindhouse stuff was everywhere in the 70s and all that stuff, or in the early 80s, whatever. But growing up in the 90s and coming of age in the 2000s, Grindhouse
totally missed all that.
Features just didn't exist.
Drive-in
so
feature or drive-in theaters and things like that. It was just we totally missed all that.
Mm-hmm. It was an eye-opener for me. But I didn't turn 20 yet. When I turned 20 is when I saw this movie okay, so here's the thing. It came out around Christmas, this movie. And I'm gonna hype it because Justin's been hyping his movie, so I'm gonna hype it. So this movie that I'm about to tell you about, alright? This movie that I saw, alright? 2007, Christmas. Where is it playing? Only in New York and LA? What the hell is going on here? I live in New Jersey or Central Pennsylvania. I can't see this movie that I want to see, that I'm about to tell you what it is, but not yet.
Boy.
So, it expands to more theaters in January 2008. 2008. I'm still 20 years old at this point, of course. And what do I see? It's playing in Princeton, this movie. Princeton University. Don't say it yet.
I know.
And
I know what it is, though.
I'm like, you know what? I'm going to drive to Princeton. Before I go back to college for spring semester, I'm going to drive to Princeton and see this motherfucking movie because I've been waiting 2 years to see it. I love this director. I've been following his work. I saw all of his movies at this point. I got to see this goddamn movie, and it is called
I'm so mad at you.
There Will Be Blood. There Will Be Blood by Paul Thomas Anderson. I mean, you got to understand, you know, being 20 years old and having these directors come out, especially a director like Paul Thomas Anderson, come out with something like this. That was one of my, Grindhouse was a great cinematic experience. The Movie Blood was like, because I got to see it, I drove and I saw it and it blew me away. It's still one of my favorite movies of the past 15 years. Yeah. It's an excellent movie. It blew me away in so many aspects. And I did not regret driving to Princeton to see it.
Yeah, that must have been great, though, because you had to drive all the way back, and all you had to do was probably think about what you just saw and process it.
And you know what's funny? That theater had 2 movies playing. The Movie Blood was in one screen. It was on another screen.
No Country for Old Men?
Yeah. Whoa. I wish I would have done a double feature, but I wouldn't have gotten back to Central Pennsylvania till like
as
3
much as you love the Coens, I'm
to,
surprised you didn't.
But yeah, The Will Be Blood was definitely big for me. And honorable mentions, I don't really know if this is honorable mentions because listen, I was really getting into cinema at this time. I was big into French New Wave, 400 Blows, Truffaut, 400 Blows, Godard's. I like Breathless, but really what got me into Godard was A Woman is a Woman because I love the quirkiness of it. I love the way he messes with music in that movie. Another one's Kurosawa's Rashomon. It was just such a pure, beautiful movie that's been copied so many times since. I wasn't just obsessed with foreign classic films at this time. I was really getting into 70s American films too. And this one is still probably my favorite movie of all time. But I watched it in class first. Chinatown.
Okay.
Chinatown was everything for me. Even the first viewing, I was like, this is an incredible movie. I just couldn't get enough of it. I was privy to Roman Polanski's style at the time. Now, Roman Polanski, his movies are very much a slow burn. Even like his last few movies, Ghost Rider is a slow burn. Not much of a payoff, but still, But Rosemary's Baby, I watched that. I think I was still in high school when I watched Rosemary's Baby. But I loved that too. I loved the style of that, but it was very much slow burn. So by the time I got to Chinatown, I knew what I was getting into. Plus,
you knew what to expect from him.
At the time, Jack Nicholson was he's awesome. So I can watch Jack Nicholson do anything. But the fact that he's in this movie, this excellent movie with Faye Dunaway and John Huston, a legendary director, that movie just unfolds so perfectly. And I've watched it probably about, I want to say 4 or 5 times since. I should have watched it 15 times now. But it's like, I'm always like, I want to have the right time to watch it. But it's easily one of my favorite movies. Casablanca was also like a crucial movie for me at that time. Just because how perfect it is. It's just so pitch perfect. First viewing off the bat, it was an excellent experience for me. So Chinatown, Casablanca, 400 Blows by Truffaut, A Woman is a Woman by Godard. Lots of French New Wave in general was big for me.
Sounds like 20 was a tough choice for you because you've got some really great stiff competition there.
Year. 25 is going to be even more loaded, but yeah. And then The Will Be Blood for new movies. The Will Be Blood was definitely big for me. And Diving Bell and Butterfly, holy shit, that movie, that was such a great movie to watch. As far as 2007 movies, like Diving Bell and Butterfly, There Will Be Blood, No Country for Old Men. I mean, those movies. That was a great year for film. And so not only was I discovering all these classic movies, but like that year was just like, it was like, I'm so glad I'm alive to be watching these movies because they're amazing. So yeah. So what's the rest of your list for?
The only other honorable mention, the movie that really sticks out as a movie going experience that was just really exciting, something that I couldn't get out of my head was at the time I was living in Florida and I came back to New Jersey around Christmas time to visit my family, and my uncle had all these DVDs, and we were talking about movies one night, and he was just telling me about this movie that I really should see. Do yourself a favor and watch this movie. So that night, I went through his DVD collection and picked it out and put it in, and boy, was I taken on a ride, because I'd never seen anything by this filmmaker. I've seen a lot, everything that he's made since, and that movie was Memento by Christopher Nolan. So that was just a great experience. The way it was shot, going backwards, and the flashbacks, so that every scene that you see, you're experiencing it the way that character. That really got me thinking about filmmakers more so than the actors that are on the screen, like the people that are making these movies, because there's intent behind what they're doing, and you're seeing things for a reason. So that really kind of turned me on to who's the director, who's the cinematographer, who's the writer, who's making this movie, not just who's on the screen. But I'm a little upset with you for stealing my thunder with There Will Be Blood, because that's actually my 25 pick. Let's
go right into it.
Yeah, let's go right into it. It's interesting that you mentioned Blockbuster, because you'd be hard pressed to find a Blockbuster these days. I don't know if any exist anymore, but at the time, between 20 and 25, stores were going out of business left and right, and it's really great for kids that are living on a stingy budget like you and me, that love movies and want to go pick up some movies for on the cheap. I would go in there, and everything is cheap. So I got Citizen Kane. I got a couple other movies, and then I saw this movie that I'd heard so much about. It got a lot of attention at the Oscars that year, and I had never seen it. It didn't really make the connection with Paul Thomas Anderson, with Boogie Nights and Magnolia. I'd never even seen those movies. I heard of them, but I'd never seen them. So I wasn't really sure who was making the movie. I just knew that it was an important movie, so I said, what the hell, I'll pick it up. And I went home and watched that movie with my girlfriend at the time. She fell asleep during the movie. She went to bed. I did not. I stayed and I watched it to the very end.
Folks, this was his ex-girlfriend.
Ex-girlfriend. I think that was what did the relationship. That was the deciding factor. Going to sleep during There Will Be Blood. That was the first straw, the first domino to the end of that relationship. But just took me on a ride, and I was really just God. I can't say enough about that movie. I could talk about that movie all day. There Will Be Blood, and then that introduced me to after talking to you, Paul Thomas Anderson. I realized who he was and what he had done and what I hadn't seen, and it was great because that was really the opening. Just like the beginning to now he is without a doubt my favorite filmmaker, and that was the first thing that I had seen, my favorite movie of his too.
I like your recounting of one of our first conversations we had after we reconciled, because
that's right.
Justyn and I were friends from 96, 99. Then Star Wars Phantom Menace came out. Then we weren't friends for 11 years. And then we reconnected. We realized, we got older, smarter, wiser. And then we became
Let
friends
bygones
again.
Be bygones.
And then we had breakfast one day. Breakfast at Tiffany's, or actually the Crystal Diner.
The Crystal Diner in Toms River, New Jersey.
Give us some free pancakes.
Something.
So he's like, "Yeah, I really like this movie. I thought we Blood." I'm like, "Oh yeah, Paul Thomas Anderson." And I was like, "Have you seen Magnolia, Boogie Nights?" And he's like, "Oh, what? Who's what?" Yeah. And I'm like, "Oh my god, who is this guy? Should I really be friends with this guy? This guy right here? I don't know."
You were really thinking about it, weren't you?
No, I wasn't. But yeah, I was excited though. I was like, "Oh my god, I can introduce my favorite filmmaker to this kid, to this poor kid who's months older than me, but he's a kid right now. He's not a man yet. He's gonna watch Magnolia."
Yeah. It was like you had an idea like, I know what I'm doing, kind of, but I just need a little guidance.
Yeah, I needed to push you.
You pushed me in the right direction. I was dipping my toe in the pool. You pushed me in the deep end.
Yeah, age 25. It's interesting. I was a couple years out of college by this time. I was writing about movies on my blog, which I'll plug, kenoncinema.blogspot.com. But I really started after college. I had a thirst. I was really into film theory and film criticism while I was in college, And so when I graduated, I was like, you know what, I want to continue this. So I started a blog, started writing about movies. So by 2012, new movies had an effect on me, but not in the way they did when I was younger. So by this time, what really got to me at this time were the older movies. As far as older movies are concerned, age 25, what really hit me, and I somehow I avoided this movie in college. I avoided this genre in college. Italian neorealism, and The Bicycle Thief by Vittorio De Sica. The simplicity of that movie, and the way, how simple it is, plus how emotionally effective it is on all fronts. If Chinatown is my number one favorite movie of all time, Bicycle Thief is number 2. It's an excellent movie. It really influenced me because I started realizing just how unnecessary it is to convolute movies. Like you can have the simple plot. This guy who lives in Italy during dark times, post World War II Italy. He needs a job. The only way he can get this job is to get a bike. He needs a bike for this job. He gets his bike. His bike is stolen. Everything about his life depends on this bike. There's not much to this movie, really, but like just the little things like that. And he has his son. He wants to take care of his son. He wants to take care of his family. In the scene,
don't get into much spoiler-related territory because I have not seen The Bicycle Thief.
Yeah, well, it's hard to spoil it because again, it's such a simply told movie, and it's really about the effect it has on you when you watch it. And that movie was big for me, and it got me into De Sica's other stuff, including Umberto D, which is another. Bicycle Thief kind of gets all the love, but Umberto D, which is kind of similar in a lot of ways, which is about an old man and his dog, which sounds, you may not. Oh wow, I gotta see that movie, but really,
you gotta see.
After you see Bicycle,
people are lining up.
After you see Bicycle Thief, you have to watch Umberto D. And you have to watch the movie before Bicycle Thief, which is Shoeshine. All three, Shoeshine, Bicycle Thief, Umberto D. I watched those films like within a week of each other, and I just could not get over just how wonderful they are and how simply told they are, and just like they're three such separate movies, but they're very much related to post World War II, it's Italy, and just how everyone just those times, just the way those movies captured those times. Was just it was just really amazing. And I gotta also say The Third Man, another big one. Carol Reed, Joseph Cotton, and Orson Welles in Third Man, another excellent film, and it really made me love Joseph Cotton. Like you talk about Humphrey Bogart and Jimmy Stewart and Cary Grant. I like those guys, but I love Joseph Cotton. Okay, he's in like The Third Man, Shadow of a Doubt, Magnificent Ambersons. Joseph Cotton is all these movies, and I love all those movies, and I love him in those movies. I don't know what it is about him. He can play the protagonist very well. He can play like a guy that you follow and that you enjoy really well. He can play that kind of guy, a likable guy. But he can also play a nasty son of a bitch. And I didn't see Shadow of a Doubt from beginning to end until late last year. But Shadow of a Doubt, I'm telling you, Shadow of a Doubt is like quickly shooting to like my top 5 movies of all time. And Joseph Cotton is a large reason why. He's just such a subtly nasty character. He's not like overtly bad in that movie. And you kind of love to hate him in that movie. He's just such a wonderful actor to watch. And if you haven't really gotten into his movies, I really suggest that you do. The movies that he appears in. Because he worked with great directors. And I talk about The Third Man. Third Man is another great film that kind of works like, it's a film noir. I feel like I'm reading a hard-boiled detective book while I'm watching this film because it's so layered. It's so oddly shot. There's like these, like the camera angles are slightly off kilter. But someone went up to Carol Reed afterwards and was like, you don't have to shoot films slanted. You need help. Do you need a leveler to level these films? To level the.
Get out of here, really?
Yeah. But like it was the intention. That was the aesthetic for that film, and it was a very bold move to make. and it just makes the whole entire film feel unsettling and strange. And the use of shadows in that movie, The Third Man is another big movie for me.
As far as me though, other movies for 25 and The Master, we saw that together. That's an incredible movie. Between 20 and 25 though, the Dark Knight sticks out to me. I don't have, like I said, not too many of the older movies like that you mentioned, but The Dark Knight, with just leading up to it, the anticipation, Heath Ledger gets cast. You learn about that, then Heath Ledger passes away, and then you see this performance that just completely blew everybody away, myself included.
We will definitely get into a lot of that when we talk about Christopher Nolan and to preview Interstellar, which comes out early next month. We should really
right. That'll be our next episode, right?
Yeah, for our next episode, we're definitely going to talk. It's going to be like almost our all Christopher Nolan hour. I mean, we're going to try and get through other stuff too, but we're going to talk a lot about Christopher Nolan, a lot about his movies, and the anticipation of Interstellar. We're going to talk a lot about that. But yeah, Dark Knight, was a huge. That was a big film indeed.
I like talking about earlier. We mentioned our theater experiences as children. I think up until recently, before, when I was in my early 20s, my most exciting theater experience was being excited to go see The Dark Knight. We saw it in IMAX because it was filmed on IMAX, so I went there with a bunch of my friends opening day, and just all the anticipation, and then the payoff. The payoff was there. It was one of those movies where you get excited, and all of it is just. It was worthy to get all worked up for this movie. And then the other movie that I saw that during that time frame that really stuck with me was Alfonso Cuarón's Children of Men.
Okay, yes, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, that's another one that I picked up from one of the local video stores that were going out of business. Picked up the DVD and just fell in love with it.
What do you think like overall, like when you look back at the 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years old, like what do you think, like your choices of movies like feel when you think of that, when you look back at yourself at these ages, and like you think about these movies, like is there an art
there's definitely a shift, because when you're young, you watch what you're exposed to, what your parents bought or whatever. You take what you have in front of you at your disposal, or what's like marketed directly to you as a kid. And then as you get older, you start to seek out what you want and what you're interested in. So it's the shift from being given something to seeking something out. And it's interesting because what you see as a kid is going to shape what you want to seek out as an adult. There's something there, definitely.
I feel like the movies that really strike you when you're a kid, even something like All Dogs Gotta Go to Heaven, the movies that you eventually watch as an adult and everything like that, like I remember Paul Greengrass, who directed Captain Phillips, the Bourne movies, the last 2 Bourne movies. He has this great quote, because he did this talk with BAFTA, the British Academy Awards things, and he did this talk with them, and he said that when he tries to make a movie, when he makes a movie, he's trying to recreate the feeling that he has as a kid going to the cinema. And I think that's so like fucking true. Like when you're watching movies just as an adult, like there's a part of you that like you hope that when you watch this movie you're about to see, like when you watch Gone Girl, like a recent movie or an older movie, that you hope you could get that experience of watching a movie, the same experience you had as a kid. And I think that's what's related to that, is like
that's what it's all about. Yeah, Paul Thomas Anderson said it at the New York Film Festival recently that, looking back, you don't remember the plots of the movies, but you remember how the movies make you feel. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, when I say All Dogs Go to Heaven, when you mentioned the plot, I barely remembered anything about the plot. I just remember that I watched it a lot of times. I remember the dog was called Charlie and his voice was Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, it's got to be something looking back, because it's fun to look back and really dive back into the nostalgia of it all to remember what you loved and why you loved it.
And speaking of what we love, what are we going to love? What are we looking forward to for the rest of the year, and that we're going to talk about in this podcast here? What are you looking forward to for the rest of the year, Justyn?
I'm really looking forward to seeing Birdman. Definitely wanted to see that. Wanted to see that yesterday, but didn't have the chance to. It's still in limited release, so I'd have to make the trip up to New York City to see that. Really, the movie that as if you haven't noticed by now, we both really like Paul Thomas Anderson, and Inherent Vice is coming out in December, wide release in January, and I waited and waited and waited to finally see the trailer, and now that I've finally seen the trailer, it's now the long wait to finally see the movie, and that's without a doubt my most anticipated movie coming up.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in New Jersey for the week of Christmas, and I'm hoping that you and I can go up to New York.
Oh, fantastic!
To
It's a date. Yeah, we got to do it.
And then we can do a podcast right after that together in the same
sure.
room
Yeah,
and talk about Inherent
nice.
Vice, because that's gonna be exciting. I'll admit right now, I'm probably gonna see it when it's in LA, because why wouldn't I? That's crazy. But and it's probably better to see it the second time with you, because like it'll just be better experience, because it's, from what I'm hearing already from when it came out in New York Film Festival, it's one of those movies that like demands repeated viewing. So that excites me. It really does.
So you're gonna see it with me the second time?
Probably. I think it would be more fun, because like the first time, I'll probably watch it, and I'll probably be like trying to catch up to it. You know what I mean? But at least the second time, I'll be a little bit more knowing about like what I'm.
Well, I want to be on the same page as you, so I'm probably going to make the trip up to New York to see it before you come in. Then
yeah,
I'll try to see it when it
and
premieres.
that would make for
premieres,
that would make for a much better discussion too. Like really.
Yeah, we'll both have 2 viewings under our belt, and then we'll really be able to. I can't wait to talk about this movie.
So yeah, so what talk about future podcasts. In the Nolan episode, I'm hoping to see Fury this week. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about Fury.
Oh yeah, me too. Definitely.
Whenever you see Birdman, let's talk about Birdman. Interstellar, obviously. Foxcatcher is going to be big. I want to see.
Oh God, I totally forgot. Bennett Miller, Foxcatcher.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want.
Oh, Whiplash. You saw that, right? That's another movie I really want to see. Whiplash.
Whiplash. Yes, yeah, Whiplash. Which, Whiplash is a great movie. Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal. I do want to check out The Imitation Game with Benedict Cumberbatch, because I have a feeling for the Oscars, I feel like Imitation Game is going to be the movie to beat, because the Weinsteins are distributing it, and they distributed King's Speech and The Artist, which won Oscars recently.
Yeah, those brothers know what they're doing.
And now Imitation Game, it has that same feeling to me. I got a feeling that like the Imitation Game might be the movie to beat. I don't know, but.
We've got a lot to talk about. There's going to be lots of fun, lots of juicy episodes. Hopefully, you'll be along for the ride.
All right. Well, Justin, what do you think? Good for us. We've tried this 2 other times. We had a different.
Yeah, I'm glad we had those two attempts under our belt.
We had a different name for this podcast when this started, but we decided on the long take. I like the long take, and you know what? This was a long episode.
This was a long episode.
So I hope you guys enjoyed listening to the first episode.
Yeah, give us some feedback, and hopefully once we get this thing rolling, if we get a bit of a following, which would be really nice. It's always nice to have listeners for a podcast, but when when the time comes, there's going to be a lot of hopefully some interaction from people listening. So get to us on Twitter, get to us on Facebook, whatever you want to do. We'll be creating all that. All that's to come. I think on that note, this is a good time to sign off.
Yes, for me, Kenneth Guidry out in Los Angeles, and
Justyn Moore, broadcasting live. Well, not live for you, but live for me from Morristown, New Jersey.
And you have just listened to the long take. Catch us later.
Thanks for listening,
Thank you.
folks.